All right, so I got a new camera. Believe it or not, I spent some money, got a camera. It was a decent mic, so because I've already lost like half a dozen of those ones that have been clipping on my shirts. And yeah, I want to use it, so I'm gonna make a video today. It's a little bit unplanned, but they all were kind of unplanned. So we're going to roll with it and see if I can't figure out this little tripod deal that I got with this thing. So what I want to do today is mostly, you know what, I'm gonna turn this around one more time. Hang on here. There we go, kind of like that. Today I'm thinking about going through, I'm gonna go through some of the comments that I get, because responding to all of them is tough. So let's see here. I'm gonna find some of the good questions I get sometimes. One thing that is crazy is when I talk about the 7.3 Godzilla lifters, a lot of people, when I brought up Chevy's previous lifter problems, and it makes me a Ford fanboy and a Chevy hater. I don't hate Chevy. The LS platform was great, but you can't come after me about those lifters, the Ford lifters, and then me wondering why. And then get all wound up when I bring up Chevy's lifters. I don't understand why some people act like those are off limits. Here's one. The problem with the lifters, this is page left blank intentionally 5 days ago. The problem with the lifters delaminating is the metal shavings getting in the pistons and bores. That's a total engine at that point. So I'm going to come at this with the approach that we do with heavy duty stuff. And we see metal flakes and things like that and camshaft failures in the industrial world all the time, and it doesn't mean it's a totaled engine. Most of the time it's an oil pump. Clean the pan and fix your broken parts and go back together. So with the metal shavings getting into the pistons, I don't want to call it impossible, but it's tough, especially if you're talking about the tops and into the cylinder bores, because your camshaft sits in the valley. Your oiling system is going to bring those down into the pan, and after they hit the pan, they get drawn through the oil pump and then through the filter, and nothing goes. The problem in instances like this is where bypass oil filters. This is the difference, right? So you don't want to have a bypass oil filter. You would rather that thing plug up and get significantly plugged instead of a bypass, where then it'll plug and just keep pushing metal material through. Yeah, see, one guy, obviously a Chevy hater. Ford 7.3 block I don't care for, but waiting for Scotty to say something. I don't know if he's talking about Scotty Kilmer or what. I don't know what he wouldn't like about the Chevy block. It's more robust, or the Ford block, it's more robust than all the Chevy blocks, but oh well. Where's another one I saw that was, okay. Still on the 3-liter Duramax, guys. This guy says, piston burn. Oh boy, another dummy. LOL, LOL. Folks, please go elsewhere to get your information. While far from perfect engine, the LM2 is proving to be a great engine. This guy has no clue. And yeah, I don't have any personal experience with the LM2, and that's for good reason, because I stay a far way away from them. But it doesn't matter who you are. You can't deny that is a throwaway engine, and at any sort of service interval, it's going to be quite expensive to do anything with. So say what you want. Yeah, I haven't seen any high mileage ones that are really rocking out a huge, great deal. So I don't know. I still don't like them. I'll take that one to the grave. It's just you watch the video. It's a terribly designed engine, and in terms of getting past 200,000 miles, it's going to be a big deal. And if it does make it past 200,000 miles, your service, minor issues in other engines and brands will be major issues in that engine. So lots of stupid parts on that thing. So this guy says, his name is David Gibbs. I'm brand new to the HD market. I have a lawn and landscape business. I run out of an Isuzu NPR box diesel truck and a Toyota Tundra. I love my Tundra but need more pulling and braking. My main focus is in reliability. I only pull around 10,000 pounds and want to upgrade dump trailers. What suggestion of a 3/4 ton would you recommend? And again, reliability is my focus. I'm up for gas or diesel. Thank you for your content and really enjoy your channel. Thanks. Glad to hear that. I did respond to this guy somewhat briefly. And what I had said in my response is, like, in reliability, and for what he's doing, I'd probably go 6-liter Chevy or 7.3 Godzilla or 6.2 Ford. Those are my favorite 3/4 ton gas platforms. And you have they're cheap, they're reliable. The 7.3 is not cheap yet, but the 6.2s are cheap. The 6-liters are cheap, and they run forever, and you don't have problems with them. And if you do, it's not a huge deal. And your expenses are, I'd say, probably 1/4 of the diesel. But if you watch my channel, you've heard that song and dance from me before. What's this guy got to say? Oh, he's talking about big cam stuff. Ooh, here's one. I haven't seen this one. Highball 743, you're doing a disservice by telling people that oil weight literally causes an engine to be destroyed. Anyone that knows anything about engines knows this video is horseshit. The low oil or oil pump, this was a low oil or oil pump issue. The difference between 530 and 520 is not a total engine destruction. So here's where I'll argue that one. Here's why I still believe that the 520 killed that 306 over there. If that engine would have had a 1540 or a 530, we wouldn't have this problem. If you want to see the big, one of the big problems with 520, look at thermal breakdown and where that 520 starts to break down and where the 530 breaks down. And then the 1540 is way out there on thermal breakdown. So this engine was in the hills when it blew up. It was pulling hard. It was a hot day, and it would have been right on the edge of thermal breakdown. What had happened is that engine thinned down, the oil thinned down. The engine ate the oil. Then it turned into a low oil situation, and away she went. So I don't know what you blame that on when another oil would have prevented that. I'm gonna go back and say that. But what you get is a lot of people that. And I'm not always right. I'm always open for discussion. But even then, I'm going to run that one for a while because even in if you were to go brand new engine for brand new engine and put 520 in one and 530 in the other and put them through a heavy duty service, the engine with the 530 is inevitably going to last longer. If you think, here's another example. In the United States, the Ford 5.4 called for a 520. They had cam issues, cam phaser issues, timing chain wear issues once they got into higher mileage. In Australia, they called for a 530 because of a different emissions EPA standard. Those 5.4s were almost flawless down there with no problems at all. And then we get to the 6.2 Ford, right? The 6.2 is I don't know if it's a true modular engine that the 5.4 and the V10 were, but it's very similar in design. Called for 530 from the get-go. Flawless motor. That motor has been great for Ford. And you see, you can't tell me that the 520 wasn't it. And you get people that get grumpy, and it's hard to. I'm not going to say that this guy's. Yeah, he's wrong there. I think he's wrong. But you get people where you hit them with and some people don't handle arguments well, right? And sometimes I have a hard time with it too. So you got to step back and really take in the facts. But with the heavier engine oil, that engine would have lived. The oil pump issue was derived, and the oil burning issue is derived from the thinner oil that can't handle the higher, the heat. Look at just type in engine oil. If you go to an engine oil thermal breakdown chart, you'll see at like at an ambient temperature of 70 degrees is kind of the high end of where they want you to run 520. If you're going to have an ambient air temperature of over 70 degrees, they want you to bump to a 530. We hit ambient air temperature of 70 degrees probably over 100 days here in Colorado. And so that's why that happened. Hot summer day. Here's another thing you got to keep in mind. It is easier to keep a car cool at 100 degrees down in Phoenix, Arizona than it is at 70 degrees in Denver because of air density. When your air is passing through the radiator, the air is thin up here. There's not as much molecular structure and density in the air to take your heat out of your radiator and carry it along and out of the radiator, right? So a 70-degree day in Colorado is hard, and that was a hot day, and the 520 thinned out. The engine ate it, and it burned it up. So yes, the 520 killed that engine. But that's fine. You do what you want. You run what you want in your trucks. It's not my deal. Let's see. I like to run. I really have a good time with arguments. This one guy goes, "Who in the hell is keeping vehicles for 200K miles now any days, especially a truck?" Well, a lot of us are. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a lot of trucks over 200,000 miles. But people like that, it's like you can't argue them. If they're not going to keep a truck, then it is what it is. It's not my deal. Man, this one's long. This guy's kind of got an interesting idea. My general rule of thumb has always been to use one weight heavier oil than the factory spec, especially on anything with over 100K miles. Everything I own currently has well past that, with a couple of my vehicles being past the 500,000 mile mark. The 73 GMC Astro, those are the GMC semis, not the vans. Has 1 million miles, 900,000 on an 855. Just put new bearings in it. Yeah, that's kind of a good rule of thumb there, kind of a loose rule of thumb. I always run, like, if I have any engine that's over 100,000 miles, everything gets 1540. The only thing that doesn't is my Ranger. And that's it. The Godzillas get 530. I just did another oil change at 65,000 on that white one. And so it's still going strong. I sent in a sample. We'll see what it comes back with here in a couple of days. I guess the biggest thing I'm going at too with this engine oil dilemma is, okay, these Jiffy Lubes and stuff don't have your best interest in mind. They're idiots down there, almost all of them. They're not really they're a discount service, and they're not in it to prolong your engine. They want you in, they want you out as cheap as they can do that. So, yeah, and okay, so there's another, let's talk engine oils again. Caterpillar calls for 530 and everything now. I do believe it's either 530 or 1030, but it's a 30 weight oil is our final grade under temperature. They don't call for 1540 in hardly anything anymore unless it's severe duty, but same thing with the Power Stroke. Power Stroke calls for 530 oil now too. I see that becoming more of a real generalized oil because it is a well, it's well within those
Trump, and I approve
thermal. Oh, got a text. It handles most of your thermal breakdowns. You can handle pretty intense work, but obviously if you're working hard at 1540. What's your opinion on Kirkland brand oils? I've heard it's pretty good. Made by Warren Oil Company. They make Walmart and CarQuest house brand oil. I'm a Napa house brand oil guy. I actually sent some Napa house brand oil out to be sampled 1540. It came back better than I thought. But yeah, pretty wild. Let's see if I got any other good ones in here. Yeah, same deal. Some guys just aren't going to take that the 530 killed the engine, or the 520. And that's fine. You can do what you want. But I wouldn't put that in any of my vehicles, not even a new one. So You just look at the, if you don't like, if you think I'm, whatever, you can formulate your own opinion, but yeah, just go back to that thermal chart to see where your thermal breakdown happens in 520, and it's hilarious. Yeah, I'm just gonna keep this video quick. Just had a couple quick comments I'm gonna go through here. And one guy talked about over square and under square engines. Some people don't know what that is. So over square is, oh, let's see if I got a piston around here. I do somewhere. Hey, this is irrelevant a little bit, but so when you talk over square and under square piston, so, or not pistons, but an engine. So an over square piston, an under square means that your piston diameter is smaller than the stroke of the piston. So your piston moves farther up and down than it has a distance across. When it's over square, this is bigger than its stroke. A Duramax is an over square engine by a lot. I actually think the Godzilla's over square. I like under square engines. The industrial world is very prone to under square. They seem to last a little bit, but a little bit longer, I guess. But I don't see it to be any problem with the Godzilla. And in gas engines, most gas engines are under square. You don't see quite as many issues there. And you know, I guess I wouldn't even say there's issues related to it all that much as it makes the difference on whether you have a rev-happy engine or a kind of a low-end torque engine. But that's why the Cummins is such a good low-end grunter, is because it's an under square engine. And here's kind of a basic rundown on that. Let's see. It's kind of funny if you get into some people here that will just admit that their GM was kind of a son of a gun with some of their lifters, and they just accept it. It's like, I'm not out there just to be mean. But they had lots of problems with them. And I get a fair amount of calls on those that people get to. But anyways, let's see what this one is. The 6.6 gas coming out. They're finally going to put the 10-speed behind the GM 6.6. So that'll be good. I have heard not great things about that Allison though, which is interesting to me because I thought that they were almost identical to the Ford 10-speed, but you're not seeing what you're seeing in the Ford 10-speed, or not the Ford, but the GM 10-speed. I'll show you. We're going to take a walk here. So the GM 10-speed, here's what's going on with it. In the transmission shafts, you're seeing, I don't have any clutch plates to show you laying around, but so this is a transmission shaft out of a Cat. It's same but different. You can see these bars in here. This is where your clutch plates and your pressure plates and your clutch plates and your friction plates sit, right? And when you shift a gear, oil goes through. Well, see, that's supposed to have a plug in it. They failed. So it'll put, let's say, oil pressure through this port. This port, this is just a regular old, hi dog, hydraulic cylinder right here. And so it pressurizes that cylinder, whoop, and that's what locks those clutches up, and then makes this then this gear ratio is the one you're in, right? Well, what they're seeing is those clutches are cutting through the metal on the sides. So obviously there's a metallurgy issue there. That Randy's transmission had a thing kind of on that, and it was kind of interesting to see. It's a little bit of a worry. I haven't heard about it in the Fords yet. I thought that those transmissions were very similar, but maybe they're not. But you're definitely seeing that in the Duramaxes. That 6.6 won't do that because that's a big torque deal is what that's from. And yeah, the 6.8 is going to be an awesome engine. It's just a smaller version of the D-stroke 7.3. Yeah, this is a funny one. I've heard this before. This guy's talking about when he runs Pennzoil, that his engines don't seem to like it as much, and they seem to burn a little more. Back in the day, the very conventional Pennzoil was like the cheap oil on the market, and yes, it was not a great oil to run. It was noticeable at engine teardown if an engine ran Pennzoil its whole life, just really heavy in carbon buildup and things like that. However, the Pennzoil Ultra Platinum oil out-tested Royal Purple. So something to keep in mind there. Let's see here. You know, I think we'll wrap it up there. That's kind of the ones I haven't got to for sure. But yeah, definitely, you can see old Blue back here. I'm still working on it. I got a lot of stuff I'm trying to do yet, but there's, we got chairs. I had a little shindig in here last night. A peed. But yeah, I wanted to test out my new camera and see what the quality's like in here. And check this out. Pretty stoked by this. Purple lights, pimp. Oh. And I got my lights working back here. The next big thing is clean up this mess. But another day. 6 liters back. She's running good. And yeah, so that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching. A little Sunday BS around video. And I'll be in Las Vegas next week for the Con Expo. So get in the comments. Let me know if you want to see something. I'm taking my camera and plan on hopefully getting a hold of some engineers and really picking on them and having a good time. So yeah, thanks for watching.